Hello, welcome. Marlene here. For today's cookie project, I'm stamping on cookies and then I'm coloring them in. Stay tuned for the step-by-step tutorial. Don't let the baby shower theme throw you off. This technique can apply to so many different events. To stamp on cookies, you have to have a nice smooth finish. Here, let me pick up this cookie. You can see there, you see, perfectly smooth. And I'm just going to show you whatever shape you want to use. Now I'm just outlining the cookie. I added a bit of white food gel to my icing just to brighten up the white. It's, you know, white if you just leave it, but I just wanted it to be really white. And so a few drops of white food gel to that icing. And now I'm just outlining first to get a nice perimeter, and then I'll flood. And what happens when you flood, you can kind of push the line over a little bit as you apply pressure to the new icing. It nudges that line over. If you're a little hesitant to get too close to the edge of the cookie, you just squish from the side and it just gives you a nice edge. There we go, and now let's fill this cookie in. Once you've got the perimeter on, you can kind of go a little faster. Don't over flood though, because the cookie will spill over. There. And you can just let it settle. The icing should smooth out. The thing is if you get close to the edge, it makes it tricky to pick up the cookie and shake it like I usually tell you guys to do. The icing is the correct consistency. It should smooth all on its own. It should level out all on its own without too much coaxing. My favorite markers to stamp on cookies is the Food Doodler, and this fat one, not the little, they have a smaller tipped one. This one is like a really fat end. This is my favorite one. And I suggest that you make extra cookies because chances are you're going to mess up a couple of them. And now I was at Michael's and they have always these inexpensive stamps at the front of the store. So I picked up these two. I thought they coordinated nicely together. Some people, you know, find that this is not sanitary, that it's not clean if you wash them. Anyway, for me, if I'm making them for my friends and family, I would use them. So if you're selling them, maybe you want to look into food safe. This is just rubber stamps. Something to consider, the cookie is not perfectly flat. It looks flat, but it isn't flat. This is wood, this is perfectly flat. And so what happened here is when I pressed down, I didn't get the top and the bottom of my message. So you have to rock the stamp on the cookie, holding it in one spot, but you just want to make sure that you press the whole thing. Okay, so now we're going to do one here. Now I've got my stamp and I'm just going to wipe it a bit on my paper towel here. And I'm working with my edible marker and I color my stamp here with the marker. And it might be hard to see, but I can actually see where I've passed and it's kind of like wet on my stamp. You have to go fast because funnily enough, by the time you get to the bottom, the top part is dry. Now you could use a stamp pad, put some food color on a paper towel or something, but I find that it gets overloaded and then your stuff gets kind of like really juicy, I want to say. Okay, now I'm holding it perfectly over the cookie, touching down, and I'm just pressing all around, rocking it, and there's my message. You see? Another thing that you need to really factor is make sure that your icing is very dry. You're pressing pretty hard with the stamp and you're going to, you know, just destroy it if it's not completely dry. So I'm pressing down, rocking, and there is now for your stamps. I suggest you wash them with some vinegar to disinfect them so that you can have them for next time. And now moving right along, I use the same marker to stamp on this paper, and then I cut them out, and you see here I cut out the little onesie and I cut out the little heart. And then when I put that on top of the cookie, I get a shield, and I'll be able to airbrush that section. Here is the cookie, and it's very easy to line up the shape. It's just exactly the same as the one on the actual cookie. I'm working in teal. It's one of my favorite colors to airbrush with. So I suggest you shoot first on the paper. You get a nice stream, and then gently airbrush the little onesie. And there we have a perfectly colored little area. Let's do another. So easy. Now I'm positioning, and then I'm able to hold the stencil on either side, and then gently airbrush the design. You see? And this you can go very quickly. The stamps take a bit of time, but this you can really produce. You can go quite fast. And if you don't like one, for example, this one's lighter, you can come back and redo it. You just have to realign yourself. This is more forgiving than the stamp portion. All right, I have the little onesie that I cut out from before, and I'm just shielding the teal that I just did, protecting it. And I'm putting on a polka dot stencil on top of the onesie, and I'm just holding it down here, and I'm just airbrushing some pink polka dots to my cookie here. And there, let's take off the little, and there we have our adorable little here cookie. I'm just airbrushing this tiny heart area. That's it, just like that. The other cookie has some teal, so let's add a little bit of teal border to the cookie just to tie them together. Just a little fade on it. Just enough to tie them together. I coincidentally had some perfectly coordinating icing mixed up, and so I'm going to come in and just add a bit of icing here to the onesie where the heart is. There. Just like that. And then I'm going to go around the cookie and add a little dot border. I'm leaving a space in between each dot. Just jazzing up the bigger cookie with a bit of pink icing for the border here. So starting with a swirl, taking it to the point, and a swirl. You repeat that 4 times, rotating your cookie just so that it's easier to work. And we're just going to let these dry. These are done. Here is the completed plaque cookie once again. By airbrushing the little sections, you're really keeping your stamp lines pristine. If you come in and paint them with either food color or with a marker, what happens is you activate the black ink and you muck up the sections. You tend to get like a dingy effect. You don't get the bright color like you do there with the airbrush. And a section like that little heart, you could actually use a canned mist for that. And now the onesie cookies, I really like how these turned out. Again, if you were to come in with a marker and color in those onesies, you would definitely impact your lines. Right at the sleeve, the little kind of scalloped neckline, all that would become kind of really blurred and you're going to get black in your teal color. So the airbrush really keeps your lines very sharp and gives you a really polished finished product. And here they are together. I made some mini hearts since that was the shape that was on both designs. I thought that really tied it all together. I like to have some bite-sized cookies on the platter. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.